Oh,
Be okay. Is it up? Is it is it already coming down?
It's falling
Oh no.
it's like our
in
podcast.
anticipation of my introduction. I know. That's why. Oye, Ingeloda, welcome to Remember the Cant. This is the podcast where we talk about the Expanse TV series, which is formerly on Amazon Prime. And this time, we're on season 2, episode 9, Weeping Somnambulist. I'm Parvati, and with me I have my co-hosts Bala and Sumit. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
So today, Weeping Somnambulist, there is a lot of weeping, and let's talk about what we thought about it. Bala, you can start, especially since this has Bobbie Draper.
Ah, yes, Bobbie. That's all I have to say about this episode. She's the star of the show. No two ways to that. That's it. I'm a single member Bobbie fan club, and that's it. I liked her taking on, the ridicule of the blues or the earthers, and she's there without her goggles, and she's. I don't know if she's even taken those drugs and oxygen boosters and all that, but she's there and she's opened the blinds and she's looking at the earth's beautiful ocean. We are told it's a stinking vat pile or whatever, sewer canal or whatever it is, that we are told about that. Yeah, there are other characters also there, and there is Alex, and all of those guys are there. Yeah, I liked it. That's it. That's it.
Sumit?
Yeah, for me, the MVP of this episode was Christian, just because how she shut that guy down. I think twice. Like wherever I got them, like it was beautiful. And with her voice,
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
scared. It sounded like a headmistress yelling at you for
Oh,
doing
yes.
stupid stuff
Oh,
in the
yes.
classroom. It was amazing.
Seeing through all that rubbish, my God, how does she do that?
Yeah.
She knew something was off and she managed to pierce through Bobby's whatever that training that they had given her. Yeah, I like this episode. There was a lot of cool science in this, lot
Yeah.
of new words, new concepts thrown at us. It was really fun. Parvati, what did you think about it?
I too enjoyed it. I enjoyed that sequence where Bobbie was put on trial, and then I think there was something there in her behavior that made Avasarala believe that she is lying and she has been coached to lie. I personally thought a lot of it had to do with the fact that Bobbie was a little bit too glib and she was visibly uncomfortable. And Avasarala just picked up on that, and I absolutely loved that sequence. I think that was probably my favorite part of this entire episode because I feel we wasted a bit of time with that ship going to Venus, and I was bored a little bit.
Yeah,
And because of all the is there alien life? Isn't there alien life? And this and that, and
yeah,
the Drake equation. Okay, the Drake equation is interesting, but I was kind of bored. We wasted too much time over there. I was just waiting for
Yeah.
us to come back to Earth and listen to this trial. Probably
They
my
could have
favorite
just
part.
said, watch other science fiction movies, you'll get what Drake
Yes.
equation is. There are so many other movies which are reference to
yeah.
the exact same thing.
And the
What's
easiest
your
way to
favorite Nolan movie? You probably have an
yeah.
exposition only for that.
And I also feel like the easiest way to intimidate a viewer is to show this long equation on a
Yeah.
board and say, this is the Drake equation and this is how it is calculated. Please, we already got out of school. Must we do this again?
I looked up the equation because I had forgotten when I read it back whenever when I was into these kind of stuff. There are only two possibilities of the equation. It's either zero or a very large number. It
Yes.
can't be zero because we are the one who created the equation.
We're not zero
So
unless
it
we
is a
count
very large
ourselves as
number.
We
zero.
exist
Yeah,
already, yes.
yeah. And our existence leads us to believe there must be multiple other things. And there's also the great filter, Fermi paradox, and all of that things thrown at people to confuse to by science fiction writers to show that they know more about science than you. I did not care about those guys on that
Yeah.
Arbogast ship, which was apparently
Mm.
named after an astronomer, Arbogast.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay. The one part
that
I liked was that Colonel Janus, and this guy says, you know, he's Portuguese and you
yeah,
shouldn't
that
pronounce the
was
J.
that was funny.
That was funny.
That was the one part I liked.
For a show that doesn't give us much to laugh.
Yes.
Intentionally, we
Yes.
unintentionally laugh at
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
I have a feeling we're laughing at all the wrong things, but it's okay. We're laughing. There's levity.
Yes. And
I,
they,
yeah, there was some small touches here which I liked, which was like when those Martian Marines they stepped out of the ship onto Earth, the gravity kind of caused problems with them when they were
Right.
disoriented. They threw up. It's a nice touch because you wouldn't, it's not something you would immediately think of. But then that scene made it very clear that these people are actually physically so different. They're born and brought
yeah,
up somewhere else. They're structurally very different. I like those little touches. And Bobbie standing in a room and, telling the blinds to go on and then go off and then go on. She had a lot of mental stress here, and that was shown really well.
the lights, the goggles were for the light is much more brighter on Earth than on
Yes.
Mars. Even though they trained in 1G, they're not used
Yeah.
to the atmospheric pressure. Because
Yeah.
on Earth, for them, it would be like a kg of it on their chest
Yeah.
on at all times. So
At all times.
it is understandable that guy puked. I'm surprised
Yeah.
not that most of them didn't.
Yeah,
Right.
most of them
Right.
didn't. It was I think it also showed that training in a simulation is very different from actually experiencing the real thing.
Yeah.
So there may be
Correct.
several other factors that they hadn't accounted for in their simulation, which they were hit with in full force when they finally came out on Earth. Because there's a
Yeah.
lot more
And
air.
they keep
Yeah.
remarking that don't give them any reason to be, laughing at you. In spite of
Yes.
that, that's the first thing. If you want a funny video, go watch it, is what this
Yeah.
guy, that the spy guy
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
silly, but yeah, these are things that I guess make us human also. So you can,
They also
that's a
seem to be
diplomatic
lacking.
mission. Yeah.
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 No, but one thing that came across to me at least was that the Martians seem to be lacking in confidence a little bit once they come back to the home planet because they feel that they are the outliers, Earth is the original. Somewhere in their psyche, this is playing. That's why they say things like, don't give them reasons to laugh at you. They
Yeah.
want absolute decorum. And he is so abrasive to the UN team, right? The Martian spokesperson. He is very hostile. It just shows that he just wants to get the upper hand somehow because he is afraid that Earth, with all its history and being the original, will bring them down in some form. And Avasarala actually did that. She did make
Yeah.
them look a bit like fools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's too early for trivia, but apparently that place is where the embassy is. Martian embassy is University of Toronto at Scarborough. So that's the campus. It looks very science fiction, so I can see why they chose that
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah,
It is
it
really
is.
Very
nice, modern kind of
straight
building.
edges.
Yeah.
Lot of and it's very 1984 in its construction.
Well, it reminds me of a Star Trek episode where they also have one kind of, they show another planet from in faraway galaxy, but that place is a university also with all sorts of weird shaped buildings. So it's perfect for a science fiction,
Nice.
backdrop. Same thing here also.
I like the
And the other,
windows, the command for the windows. It can be a mirror, it can go transparent. So,
that's
tiny
there in the
touches, right?
Dreamliner. 787 Dreamliners have that kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is no pull down thing. You just turn it on, and that's one example. The second example is a scary one. This is in Lausanne, Switzerland. The public restrooms, they're out there in the open, and there's a switch which makes the thing between you and the outside world go translucent like that, and you're hoping that
Oh no.
there's no power
Yeah.
it works, and that you are not able to see means that they're also not able to see you. Hopefully. This is right in the middle of, I don't know, the most public places. Everybody around you, kids, elders, everybody is there, and this is like right there, and there is series of them, and this glass is there. that which on the flip of a button just changes its transparency.
Until the button gets stuck and
Yeah.
something happens.
It's the hubris of first world countries. They don't have to
Yes.
experience power cuts like us. They are like power will always be there.
What are you talking about? Power cuts? There's no such thing. No,
Oh,
never
no.
heard of
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
That the other the place where they all meet is Fairmont Royal York Hotel. It's a really old hotel apparently. I saw the facade of it. It looks awesome. It really looks awesome. The ballroom is what I think we saw. Yeah, it's the ballroom.
Where they have the meeting?
Yeah,
Oh,
where they have the
yeah.
meeting with all of that
Oh,
stuff. Where
That
nice.
was a
Gunny is.
nice visual.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It looks nice.
Very
I was
nice.
surprised how far apart they sat. It
Ah,
was
True, true,
it was
true.
supposed to be like a it was a face-to-face interaction, and
Yeah,
they
but
came all the way from Mars, but still it felt very far apart for a
I think
diplomatic
it is for the
talk.
camera to go in between and show tighter shots. That was
Hmm.
probably the idea why they have it like that.
Or
Otherwise,
maybe I didn't
what?
realize that Gunny was going to come in later and sit in the middle.
yeah,
Because
sit in the
in
middle
the
so that she could
yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
in the
interrogate.
beginning it was empty, right? And they were
Right.
too far apart.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But
Mm.
that scene with the distance and everything that went on at during that scene, it was like
Mm.
Earth is being very quiet and slightly sneering, and Mars is being the rebel teenager, constantly raising their voice. It, it, it
Mm.
showed a huge contrast over there. I liked that quite a bit.
Mm.
And
How far
Kristen,
they had to
yeah,
continue.
and I was saying that Kristen, she's most frightening when she smiles because
Yeah.
something bad is going to happen.
What the fuck you think you are? Just stand down.
Well, a goddamn lie. It's
Yeah.
when the delivery of it was
Yes.
amazing. If you just
Crazy.
write that line down and give it to an actor, they won't be able to do it exactly as they say.
Yeah.
It's the viciousness that she came in with. It was
She
amazing.
should have
She
just
didn't
said,
even
"Did you
have to
just
raise
throw
her
a
voice.
title at me?"
Yeah.
She should have said, "Did you just throw a title at me?" That's
Yeah.
what I'm quoting Mission Impossible, Lawrence Fishburne, by the way.
You know that when she started talking to Bobbie, and then she seemed to be going off on a tangent, right? She was talking about anecdotes and some experiences, and
Yeah.
only an idiot would interrupt her because how she's going somewhere very dangerous with that. But of course,
Yeah.
our Martians had no idea what they were dealing.
So immediately, unless you have something to hide, is that something to hide?
Exactly.
Are you trying something to hide? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I want to find out. She's so eager. You fell
Yeah.
right into my trap. And it felt like a courtroom drama initially, like this guy,
Yeah.
this one interrogating, and he's saying objection and all that. Shut up! This is not a courtroom thing. I'm just trying to have a conversation here.
It just goes to show how interesting the Earth scenes were that we forgot about that. There's a whole thing happening in Roshan Until.
Rosinante, yeah, it's a
But
distraction.
yeah, I mean, she was nice to Amos, I guess. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Why was it called Weeping Somnambulist? Was it a name of the guy of a girl that was nice to
Yes.
some?
I knew her. She was
No,
somnambulist.
there
Yeah.
was some reference to that. No, the bad guy suddenly come and say, "So what have you named after? Is it a husband? Is it this?" And she says something. I forget what the line was.
Does
And
she?
apparently trying to justify why it's
The
called
name?
the Weeping
Okay.
Somnambulist. You guys don't
I
remember
tried to
this?
find I
I
tried to
mean, we only
find
remember
the explanation,
Yeah. Is
but
there an
I couldn't.
explanation? Yeah.
Alex was so weird in this episode. He baked lasagna for them. And after he says, "That's my girl," like if you guys remember that scene,
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yes.
and the camera lingers on his eyes for like 5 seconds, and he doesn't know what to do.
Creepy.
It was
Creepy,
very
creepy.
creepy.
I think they needed 5 seconds extra to extend the episode so that it meets its time limit. So let's just focus on Alex's eyes.
Yeah. They go to Selene, one of the smaller moons of Jupiter, which takes 2 years to revolve around Jupiter.
Oh,
Very small, tiny. It's 100
wait.
kilometers from Jupiter. The guy dying on the ship at the end, I didn't
Yes.
even care.
Yeah, really. Correct.
They were, and because of these idiots again, they too
Yeah,
came in
they
blasting.
stepped in.
They don't think about what they're doing. And actually, I lost the thread of the plot over there. And then when he died, I thought, who was it that just died and why is she crying?
I like the start of the episode where it was focusing on them, and then there's
Yes.
a Martian frigate who comes on board, and then it is revealed that it is our idiots.
Why do they come on board? Oh, they need a ship to go to Ganymede. Not they
Ganymede,
can't
yeah.
take Rossi. Okay.
Yeah.
Because everybody cares that Rossi is going there. So is it? Is anybody
A
there?
giant mirror fell on them, and they care about
Yeah.
Rossi. Maybe, I don't know. It might signal war if
Oh,
Yeah,
a
maybe.
Martian or an Earth ship went there. So that this was like a welfare ship, right? That went.
Yeah.
okay,
It was
okay,
easy
okay.
to less
It's
suspicion
so
with
hard to remember that plot line. Whatever happened.
Yeah, medical supplies and all that.
Medical
Food.
supply, yeah.
Correct.
I think we
Correct.
also had a bit of an absurd moment when Amos, I believe, told Dr. Meng about the protomolecule. And then I was so confused over there. They're taking him all the way back to Ganymede without telling him what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And then all of this secrecy. And then Holden, of course, again, we have to be the big keeper of secrets, wearer of shining armor. That sequence was just disjointed for me. I didn't quite care for it.
Prax is sending a message and doesn't go through. He has all these sob stories
Yes.
and he's recalling that. That felt very genuine. But then he can't send it because he's not authorized and he knows that he's not a prisoner. Why is he not allowed? Oh, it's radio silence. Otherwise, they'll be caught in transit.
The one guy who could show emotions in
Yeah.
Yeah.
more than 1,000 times more than Holden, and he couldn't send his message. And Holden's message is broadcast all over the world, the universe. It's totally unfair.
That's all I remember about Holden here. The rest of it just went
Yeah.
over my head.
Was
Unfortunately.
Naomi there in this?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember
Was
her
she?
at all.
Yeah, same.
The
No,
only thing I
she
remember
said
is-
something to
Yeah.
that Melissa lady. Melissa is
Correct.
her name, right? Melissa.
Exactly.
She said
And she
something.
sounded especially British. That's the only thing I remember. She did that.
That's why she was also confused whether if she was Belter or not, because she doesn't have that accent.
Belter British or what?
But you sound British.
Yeah.
Oh, on Earth they blamed it on. That's what broke Bobbie when they blamed it on
Yes.
Travis.
Travis.
On Travis.
Let's get
Yes.
back to the most important part. Yes, now I'm in.
Yeah.
Yes, what I guess talking about. Yeah.
Enough of
Travis and
space.
his history. So she totally. I mean, till then she was fine, lying through
Yeah.
her teeth about
Yeah.
this, and then when Travis's name went into the dust slash dirt, then that's
Dirt,
when she.
Earth. From a
That's when
diplomatic
she-
angle, it's like it fell into their palms, right?
Correct.
Laps.
Yes.
It fell into their
Yeah.
laps. Same.
Yeah. Dead guy blamed for everything, and he can't
And
come and refute.
Earth, parents are from Earth. He was born on
Correct.
Mars.
Oh yeah.
Everything
Yeah,
fits.
Yes.
Fits the
Yeah.
story
Everything
very
fits.
well.
No, but I think they also miscalculated the effectiveness of that alibi because it was too neat. And
Yeah.
I think they underestimated their opponent also, the people from Earth, because for some reason they thought that putting Bobbie there, first of all, they had to really convince her to say what she did. And then when they threw this Travis angle at her, she was visibly uncomfortable. They should have anticipated that because that is what also gave Avasarala the lead to kind of suspect that they're not being entirely truthful and there is something wrong there with her
Why
testimony.
did the Martians have to bring Bobbie there in the first place? I mean, they could have just said, "Yeah, Travis is the guy who did it all, and let's move
Soul
on."
survivor, right?
She's a soul survivor and she has survivor's
So-
guilt also.
No, but why did the
Yeah.
Martians have to bring Bobbie there? Is my question. So, do they want to say, okay, now you can cross? It's not like a case, right? So, if Mars is going to say yes, Travis did it, and I'm going to foot half the bill or how much ever, why does Earth have to care about what really happened as long as
I think Mars is hell-bent on preventing a war, and they
Yeah,
want to come
exactly.
clean. Like they want to show that they had nothing to do with whatever happened on Ganymede. So
Yes.
maybe bringing Bobbie the Soul Survivor there and saying, getting her to say that it was one of them who started it, it
Yes.
wipes their hands off clean because it's a rogue agent who did this and not a state-sponsored stuff.
Also
And
think that
they
they have to
didn't.
build. Yeah, yeah.
They
Go
should
on.
have trained her because
Yeah.
if she is your soldier and she's going to do everything you have to say, you should have briefed her and trained her and not thrown her directly into the line of fire.
right?
If you
And
train her for
also,
everything else
yeah,
and not this.
Yeah,
I
very
think
non-Martian way.
Yeah, they
they
The
acted like
Martians
also
we know,
idiots.
yeah, they
they
do
did.
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
I
It's
think
kind
gravity affects that. Earth
yeah,
gravity, yeah.
to me it felt like they probably felt that the face-to-face interaction would show that there is goodwill on their side at least, and
Yeah,
they're bringing their soul survivor. They trust Earth enough to bring their soul survivor over and prevent a war. But at the same time, I think they were they should have prepared themselves also, because constantly attempting to provoke the Earth people, Avasarala and Erin, right, trying to provoke them, trying to get under their skin, that's not a very clever tactic. And then Bobbie, you throw these sudden things at her. She's already got PTSD from this episode. She has watched everybody die. She probably has survivor's guilt. The memories are there in her mind of, seeing something that she cannot quite explain. Taking into account all of that, it's very surprising that they decided to throw this Travis betrayal angle at her at the last
yeah,
minute. And then I don't know how they expected her to not react to it. She didn't react as much as a civilian might have because of her training. She's still a Marine, so she did have a level. She did have some level of self composure, but it wasn't enough. I think they should have
yeah.
anticipated that, created
And
all
they should have
kinds of
also
problems.
known that it was her first time on Earth and how drastic that change would be. She won't be in the right mental space. It
Yeah,
was a very
exactly.
stupid move on them to not
Very stupid.
at least train her to
Yeah.
do
Very
something to
From a story perspective, the setup of Travis's character for so long, we've been exposed to the
yeah,
hate from Earth and all the the conflicts that they've had finally paid off here. I think that's the
yeah,
whole setup all through this episode in this entire
Yeah.
season. I think that finally paid off. And at the end, she just blurts it out, right? That she saw a seventh guy without a vac suit. So
like suit, yeah. And
that
Avasarala
Yeah.
catches it. No one else does, I think.
immediately. No one else gets it because there's lots of
Mm.
chaos around it. She's the only
Yeah.
one who got what she really was after. The truth.
Yes.
Coming back to the space in our space show, which we don't like in this episode. The Arbogast scene, they discover signs of life, right? That's the purpose of all that
Yes.
Drake equation and all the bickering
Yeah.
between these two characters I don't care about. This-
You
Why,
don't care
why,
about
why?
Dr. Iturbi. Oh my god.
No,
This is really
or Janus,
Oh,
Janus.
yeah.
whatever that is. But he says something
Janus
nature of
finds a hole in Venus. Okay, that's really
Oh,
bad even for me.
wow. Next, they should go to Uranus then.
Yeah.
We're still talking space. We're still talking. We're still in the
Yeah,
solar
yeah,
system.
yeah. It's all very clean and logical.
Yeah, yeah. He says the nature of intelligent life is to destroy itself.
Oh,
Like,
where
it's a
did
very
that come from?
Yeah, why?
why,
Why?
why you don't? I think
I've
space
always
does that
heard
to the philosophical way.
preserving life and I mean, that's the whole selfish
That's
gene
the
and all that.
priority thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you want
The
survival. The entire thing is pinned on the fact that we are all want to survive the next species. I don't know. Then where
yeah,
did this come
it
from?
sounds It sounds
Yeah.
very intelligent once someone says it, and probably in a British accent, if they say it, then it sounds much more intelligent. But you dig deep and it sounds pretty stupid because you're just basing it on humans, and humans are not the best case scenario.
or as Calvin of Calvin Hobbes says this, the sign that intelligent life exists. Oh, that one, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Life exists is that they haven't found us yet. They haven't contacted us yet.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
there's also this common comment that you see online when people talk about extraterrestrial life, and that is, I doubt that intelligent life exists on Earth. So,
Yeah.
in the rest of the universe, it's a big question mark.
There's also during the AI debates, there's
Oh,
thing
yeah.
people to talk a lot about artificial intelligence and not about natural stupidity.
That
Right?
guy's name is Santi Chai. He is dead. Melissa
Santi
is
Chai is dead.
inconsolable.
Another
And she
character we
asked
don't
him,
care about is dead.
yes,
Yes,
he's
is
Great.
dead.
He's dead.
Oh
And
no.
dear Holden is asked to get out of the ship because
Leave
of
the
trouble.
ship. Yes.
Yeah, he causes more trouble.
Yeah.
Of course.
In search of a
Bull in a
pediatric.
China shop, that guy does.
Amos actually seems sane sometimes compared to
Yeah.
Holden. There's a less, other than these strange declarations that he makes about the women he knew, I think he is actually a bit more sane than Holden is a lot of the time.
Okay, Alex has parked Rossi behind the moon.
Yes.
That moon is called
Yeah.
Selene. Yeah.
That's
The
the
rest
Celine
of
one.
them took
Okay.
Somnambulist and
Hmm.
went here. Lands among the MCRN patrol. So there were MCRN patrols there. That's why they couldn't land the Rossi.
Right.
I think if we paid a little more attention to the
Are you
we
telling
could-
me that?
No, me. Because the space stuff was so boring in this. I'm reading the fandom right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think for the first time, the Earth stuff was much more interesting than the space stuff.
Yes.
It was so interesting that the rest of it didn't register at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Rossi is usually where the action is, but this time it
Yeah,
wasn't.
but this time it didn't land at all. I think the most of the episode is kind of lackluster except for the things that happened on Earth. That's because of Bobbie also and Avasarala. That confrontation was
Yeah.
fireworks. It was amazing.
Yeah.
The rest of it was very lackluster.
Hmm.
It didn't matter. I think it was needed for us to give a breather from the Earth scenes.
Yeah. But I don't think putting that Drake equation up on screen was the best idea.
Yeah, it was too on the nose.
Yes.
Either solve it, no? Like, why did you give
Yeah.
this equation? Put in your variables and solve it.
Solve it. Why are you showing this?
Why
Just
are you
showing it
showing?
and giving us a lecture on the Drake equation.
Yeah.
Please.
This is the end of the science class. Now we start with the episode.
Which we didn't sign up for.
Yeah. They found life in an environment that melts lead.
Yes.
This
Amazing.
surface
Yeah.
of Venus. Great.
This is what happens when you think that humanity is the center of the universe and you apply all of human principles to every other life form. This is what
Right.
happens.
Right. Every other sci-fi has only life that is biped, and
Yeah.
the face looks exactly like human being.
Yes.
Have you guys read this Andy Weir book? The latest.
No.
The author of The Martian.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Hail Mary?
Yeah, Project Hail Mary.
Project Hail. Yes, I've read that.
Okay.
The description of that alien is in there is
Yeah.
fascinating. It's like an arachnid kind of a spider-like creature,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it can't see. It can only communicate through or something like that. I'm
It was different.
misremembering.
I
It's
read
very
it 2
different.
years back. Yes,
It's not
it was a different
bipedal,
idea.
but it knows it is intelligent enough to go figure out space travel. So
Yeah.
it know the language that they communicate in is math. So it's just
Oh.
they're just talking through maths because it's universal. There's nothing else to
I
talk about her.
did write down some notes, but let me just give me
Actually
a
have
second.
notes for this episode other than Avasarala and Bobbie. That's amazing.
I just wrote down the ship names.
Yeah.
Arbogast, Weeping Somnambulist. And all the sans things that I wrote down all of them. Ganymede has a magnetosphere that helps people. It's very unique in that it has a magnetosphere of its own.
Oh,
And for a moon, that too.
we see May's genetic disorder that suddenly comes up,
You
and that
rattled off
Dr.
a big
Strickland
name, man.
was a specialist in that.
That
Yeah.
they did say, yes.
That reminds me of the time I got stung by a scorpion in Arizona, and they said you're lucky because Arizona has the only scorpion venom research center in the world.
Oh my God.
Well, this scorpion is not deadly for adults, so I was fine. But apparently, for pets and for kids, it could be deadly. That particular type of scorpion.
Shit.
Yeah. So that's what I could relate to Praxis saying, "Oh, thank God we are in Ganymede because the best help that I could get at the system, I have it right on Ganymede."
This Santichai's full name is so horrible. Did you guys see?
Who?
Santichai, the guy who
Santichai.
died.
Oh,
Santichai Suputaya Porn.
Santichai. Suputaya
Suputaya
porn.
Pond.
Yeah.
Suputaya Pond.
And apparently his last name was changed from it was Supitaya Porn. Then they changed
Oh.
it to Suputaya Porn. They kept the porn.
Subtly to Supitaya.
It wasn't even mentioned. Why did they do this? So
Yeah.
For
stupid.
unknown reasons, okay.
For unknown reasons. He didn't even live long. I mean, maybe that's why it had to be the Weeping Somnambulist, given the penchant for long, strange names with changed spellings. We had to do this. Speaking of which, what is the relevance of the title?
There's some
No
notes
idea.
on there's some notes on that also. I don't, but
There are
not worth
speculations
reading.
on why it was named,
Yeah.
but there's no concrete thing.
Correct. It's just hand waving.
It's just there.
Yeah.
It's such a strange name to call a ship.
The name helps them hide in plain sight. It's so unassuming and poetic that it's unlikely to attract attention. Eh?
What? Which one? Weeping Somnambulist.
Yeah,
Is it
I
because it's
think
a boring name?
boring name. Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody who reads that says, "Ki, oh, this guy must be into Keats and Sylvia Plath and stuff." If he's naming,
Ultimately, the person he had to deal with was Holden, and that was the end.
yeah.
Game over.
No, or I think see when I have a flight chart, no, so the name probably extends to a long title. So half of it will be truncated that they won't be able to see. All they can see is weeping, so they just move on to the next ship. This is my longest explanation for this.
Yeah, maybe.
I,
This be such a boring ship. Just move on.
yeah.
They named it. Who names the ship Weeping? You name it something powerful or something like
Rocinante.
Rocinante.
Austin
Like a
Dante
horse.
was nice.
A horse
Yes.
wouldn't be named Weeping Somnambulist. The slowest horse.
Ever.
Anyway, we are digressing.
Yeah.
Says a
Grasping
lot
at
about the
straws.
episode that we were digressing.
Yeah, we started off this episode saying that we love
With
this
digression.
episode.
We were digressing. Fair
Remember
warning.
the digressions.
Okay, everyone.
Alrighty. See you then. Or else. No, we're forgetting
Remember
something.
the Cant.
Remember
Remember
the
the
can.
Cant.
Or
Or
else.
else.
Or else.